Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Green Team Lunch and Learn. So we're doing it a little differently now that we're obviously in this pandemic, and we'll be doing our Lunch and Learns via Zoom for the next several months. But we wanted to make sure that we still kept these Lunch and Learns going so that everybody was able to still see what's going on, what the Green Team is working on, and obviously get caught up on ways to be sustainable at the city. So today we have Kelsey Raider, our Sustainability Officer, who's going to talk about our Climate Action Plan this month. And what we'll do after we're done, I just want to let you know, make sure you continue to check eWeb. We will post all these videos to our YouTube channel and to eWeb so that everybody can log in and see them. And we'll be doing it, as I said, for the next several months, so that we can keep everybody up to date. And we missed you all, and we're glad that you're back. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kelsey. How you doing, Kelsey?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Tom. Glad to be here with everybody.
It's great to have you back.
Thanks about that. Sorry, there's a little bit of a Zoom glitch. I think we're all going through that. All right. So thanks so much, everybody, for having me today. Really excited to be here and talking to you all about the Climate Action Plan. This has really been, several months in the making. So, just so excited to share the progress that we've made with you all and really get everybody so engaged in this process that is going to be going on for the next couple months, really, and going to be, huge in terms of getting us to a place where we've got really defined actions and strategies to continue our sustainability work into the long term. So, again, my name is Kelsey Raider. I'm the Sustainability Officer for the City of Albuquerque. It's been about coming up close to 2 years, still about a year and a half that the Sustainability Office has been at the city, and it's been so exciting to just see a lot of things come to fruition in this last month here. But as a quick reminder for everybody, the Sustainability Office was created to advance innovative projects and policies to enhance environmental stewardship, to work alongside city departments, supporting adoption of sustainable practices, and connecting with the community to educate and enabling whole community action for sustainability. And really, again, like I mentioned, we've existed for about a year and a half now. We've done a lot of great work in those first two points right there. And the Climate Action Plan really represents our big movement towards working with community now and turning our attention to, not just the work that we do at city departments and the work that the Green Team does throughout City Hall to make sure that we are being sustainable on every level, but really ensuring that community-wide we're reaching out and we're sharing what we can, enabling action, and just being supportive as possible. So today I'm going to talk, like I mentioned, about the Climate Action Plan. I'm going to cover what's new. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the timeline, what this project looks like. It's a big project, so there's always a lot of moving parts to it. Talk about the public outreach that we're in the phase of right now. We're wrapping up here soon, and how you can help. And then I'll take questions at the end of from Tom or anybody else. If you've got questions, you can always send them to me later, and I'm happy to reply via email. So real quick, some of you may know, some of you might not know, but in 2009, under Mayor Marty Chavez, there was a big push towards sustainability. A climate action plan was developed back in 2009, and it really was very comprehensive. A lot of that work has been completed or taken action in a lot of ways. And a lot of things, though, are just a lot of expectations that we had in 2009 are obviously very different than what we have now in 2020, especially with the pandemic is sort of a layer on top of everything. So, thinking about that when we were trying to calibrate where we wanted to head, what we wanted to do with this 2020 Climate Action Plan, we first really wanted to focus on an equity-driven process. We wanted to make sure that we took the understanding and the research that we had, knowing that environmental justice is a factor in communities across the country, that race is still a determinant of people's outcomes, and oftentimes people of color, underserved communities are hit the most hard by climate change. So, for example, if you can think about folks that are struggling with paying utility bills already, as temperatures rise and weather patterns become more unpredictable. Obviously, those utility bills are going to continue to rise as we're continuing to keep our houses cooler. We have longer, hotter summers, drier winters. So this is really just something that acknowledging that equity is such a key part of the climate action planning process, and what we're doing in climate action planning is so very important, especially for our Albuquerque community. Also acknowledging that we are in the middle of a pandemic, we're responding to COVID-19. There has been economic ramifications because of that. That means in the plan that we really want to focus on this idea of green recovery, that we are thinking about what types of capital infrastructure projects can be put forward in the future to be able to continue to stimulate our economy, that we're building back, and we're building back in a way that we're reducing our environmental impact. So another really good point for this climate action plan. We also looked at the 2009 plan, and it was incredibly comprehensive, and we really wanted to retain that ability to be comprehensive, but at the same time make sure that we are putting our attention in areas that don't have additional planning pieces attached to them, that we can really make some headway in for the city. So now there's going to be 5 different sections of the plan. We'll be focusing on sustainable buildings, renewable energy, climate conscious neighborhoods, recycling and zero waste, and clean transportation. And especially with that climate conscious neighborhood section, very excited that we are going to be thinking a little bit holistically about what's the experience like within your own neighborhood. How does the street infrastructure, the trees around you, the vegetation that's present allow you to not only be comfortable and to keep homes cool, but also allow for people to get around safely and without having to use cars. So again, like I mentioned, this is a really big, long process. You know, it's really exciting because every different phase just has so much packed into it. So we launched we're right now still in the public outreach phase of the climate action planning process. So in July, we decided that it was very important to, again, have this be a very equity-driven process, a very community-driven process. And so before we even get into thinking about what the policies could be, we wanted that all to be driven by community. So we launched the Climate Action Survey in July to allow for the public to be able to list their priorities, give the city an indication of what is going to be very important, not only for citywide purposes in the climate action planning purposes, but to even better understand how different neighborhoods are dealing with different issues. And we're already starting to see that in the responses that we're receiving. We also have an application period open right now as well for the Climate Action Task Force, which I'll talk about a little bit later. We'll do a deep dive in both what the survey and the task force will accomplish over time. But long story short, again, we've had the climate survey and the applications open since July, and it's going to be closing actually next Tuesday, 1 week from now, on September 8th at close of business. So once we've closed up our public outreach next week, a few weeks later, starting in the fall, we're going to be bringing together the Climate Action Task Force, and they will actually be the ones that will be developing the strategies and the action items within the climate plan. And they're going to be doing that all based on the input that we're getting from our surveys. Finally, in winter, we're hoping after a lot of hard work in the fall that we're going to have a draft plan that will be ready for public comment. And so that'll be, again, another area that everyone on that's listening to this Lunch and Learn, your friends, your neighbors, your networks can all take a look at that plan. You'll be able to rank the different action items in there based on your idea of how effective they'll be. And then you'll also be able to just give open-ended comments as well. So another really great way for community to plug in and to make sure that they're consistently informing this plan. Finally, in spring, we're hoping to release the plan and share that with the public so that by summer of next year that we're going to be able to drive implementation. So a little bit more on the public outreach portion. What is this climate survey? What is it trying to do? We really thought a lot about trying to develop a survey and putting out a survey that was going to ask people how are they getting around the city, what would make the city more enjoyable for them, safer for them. We really wanted to really focus on things like, are you able to spend as much time as you like outdoors? How could that be improved? How are you getting around the city? What can we do in that way to try and shift people over from taking their car for every single thing to maybe taking a bike, maybe being able to walk there, maybe being able to purchase an electric or hybrid vehicle and keep that vehicle charged. We also wanted to take a look at what types of rebates or tax credits resonated with people, and then also think about recycling education. And this team obviously knows that the city's done a lot of really great work in educating folks on contamination and recycling, and we're just going to continue to bolster that program. So like I mentioned earlier, everything that we get from the Climate Action Plan survey that will go directly to inform the Climate Action Plan. So all of the priorities that are going to be really focused on in that plan are coming directly from the survey. So really exciting stuff to be able to know that your participation really results in city action and city priorities. So I'm happy to say that we've gotten over 2,500 responses to date from at least 100 different neighborhoods. And we're really just very happy about the spread and the reaction of the climate survey for folks all across the city. But I think, as most city employees know, and maybe other folks know as well, it really is so important to have as many survey responses as possible. It really just does help to make sure that we've got a really incredible sample size and gives a lot of priority to the action items we're going to take. So we need more survey responses, is what I'm trying to say. So the other portion of the public outreach that we're doing right now is inviting folks to apply for the Climate Action Task Force. And so like I mentioned earlier, equity is such a huge, important part of the work that we're doing, especially in this phase and this time. And so the Climate Action Task Force is open to all city residents, but we're especially looking for folks who can connect to and identify with communities of color, with historically underserved communities and low-income communities as well. Especially, again, as I'll say, those folks are experiencing the brunt of climate change impacts and will continue to experience that unless we take an approach right now to try and solve and address those issues. So we're really looking also to just foster and empower new diverse climate leaders. So, the folks that care about climate change, we really, really care about it, but we want everyone to care about climate change. It really does touch issues like economic justice, issues of just workforce development. I mean, anything, health issues, anything you can think of across the board, climate change does have a hand in it. And that's something that we just want to foster and welcome in terms of thinking broadly about how all these different issues that we're trying to deal with touch climate change and how we can solve it in some way through our planning activities. So Climate Task Force will come together and they will be developing planning goals. We're going to be recruiting about 12 to 15 members. We've gotten absolutely great applications so far, but again, the task force application period is open until the same time as the climate survey. So you have until next Tuesday at close of business to apply. If you are interested in applying, or if you know other people, people in your life that you think would be a really great fit for the Climate Task Force, please encourage them to apply. They still have a week left here, and it's not a long process at all. It's just not more than 10 questions really, and very easy to apply. So please think about that. That task force, however, will commit to working through facilitated work sessions for about 5 to 6 months from the fall through early winter. And they will be also compensated for their time. And they will be committing about potentially at most a 20 to 40 hour commitment over 5 to 6 months when it's all said and done. So they'll be all hosted virtually as well. And throughout this process, we'll have city and subject matter experts available to help provide support, to give presentations to the task force to help them understand the different topics that we're going to be discussing and get some different perspectives on it. One other quick outreach that I wanted to mention, I've mentioned that equity is so important, and I just want to give a couple quick examples for anyone that's maybe interested in doing this in their own departments or in their own work as well. Some ways that we tried to ensure that we were getting the voices that we needed from the communities that are a priority right now is sending out mailers to neighborhoods that were experiencing energy burdens. So luckily at the city, we have a map that we are going to be releasing in the next few months once it's finalized that tells us where people are paying disproportionately higher rates on their utility bills than other homes. We've also launched a pilot program with Prosperity Works in partnership for Community Action to provide free home energy audits and upgrades to low-income households. Those folks are working in tandem with PNM on this. And if you know of people that would potentially benefit from this, please go check out the sustainability website, www.cabq.gov/sustainability, and there's a sign-up form there. And then, of course, again, we have a strong commitment to diversity on the Climate Action Task Force, as I talked about before. So again, just a quick reminder that community will be able to view the draft plan before it goes public and is finally released. Everyone will have an opportunity to be able to comment on that plan as well. And if you want to have notifications, you want to know exactly when that plan is going to be released, you can take the survey and you can also just sign up at the sustainability website, and I'll put that link out there in the notes when this goes out. But either way, if you take the survey and ask to be continued to be notified for future news, you'll get that plan directly to your inbox. And then also, again, if you just go to the sustainability website and email us at the general email inbox, we'll add you to our listserv list as well to receive notifications. So a lot of folks typically ask, how is the plan going to be actionable? What's going to happen? Implemented? I'm happy to say that the Sustainability Office really will take on the bulk of the responsibility for tracking the progress publicly. Everyone will be able to see where we're at, what kind of progress that we're making. We'll eventually be able to start releasing an annual report on progress to date. We're also going to submit this plan to City Council for adoption, and so your elected leaders are also going to have some stake in this as well. And then we love to believe that, when a plan is developed by community, for community, everybody really has a stake in making sure that this plan gets implemented. So before I wrap up today, I just have a quick call to action. If you didn't already guess it by now, I'm going to ask you to take the survey. I'm going to ask you to share and potentially fill out the task force application if you yourself are interested in joining. We have lots and lots of social media posts on this on our EHD web pages, on our social media sites. And so on all of the different social media handles, we have at CABQ EHD as our handle. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Please go check us out. Please reshare our content, and please encourage your neighbors, again, your friends, your family members to take this as well. This is really something that is just so important for all of us, and especially for our future in the coming years. So please feel like this is an opportunity to be able to inform the priorities and the policies of city government. We really just want to, again, welcome communities, see this as a bridge building activity for us to continue to build off in years to come. So that's it for my presentation today. If there's any questions, you can always email me at kraider@cabq.gov. Tom, do you have any questions for me before we log off here?
Yeah. What type of person is good for the task force? For people that are looking to consider applying, is there, do you want somebody who's a business owner or just a regular citizen? And I guess how are they chosen, and when do you notify them when they are selected to the team?
Thanks. Those are perfect questions, Tom. So the types of folks that we're looking for the Climate Action Task Force, our real prioritization is, again, connection to, ability to represent those communities I was mentioning earlier, communities of color, historically underserved, low-income folks. That is really, again, for this particular planning process, for this phase where we recognize that a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work, leaves a lot of folks that really have a lot of needs off on the side. And so it's important for us to really prioritize where the key issues are at for this phase. But in addition to that, we're looking for people that are interested in working with city government, are interested in deepening learning and conversations on climate. We're not necessarily looking for folks that, are a perfect climate scientist and have, gone to Antarctica and seen the glaciers melting. We're really looking for people that just diversity of experiences that really feel like they can take the work that they're going to do in the climate task force and bring that back to their community. So, looking for people that have some experience in community organizing, in social work, in policy development potentially, and not even in all of those places, but really folks that feel, again, just a strong connection to their communities, feel like they really have a perspective that's informed by their professional experiences or by their lived-in experiences, and want to participate in a consensus-based way, in a way that we're building bridges and working with a diversity of perspectives to move this plan forward. So, if anyone feels like that really resonates with them and that's somewhere they can fit in, please send us an application. So what'll happen is after the time closes for the application period next week, myself and several other city staffers are going to be sitting down, reviewing those task force applications to really see, to ensure that we've got a large amount of diversity in terms of perspectives on the task force, and also that we're just making sure that these folks are feeling like they can truly be, connected and able to commit to this work as well. And so after that process, we will let everybody know who's applied, whether they've been selected or not. And I want to emphasize too, if folks aren't selected, please don't feel like that's your only chance to be able to meaningfully engage with the climate action plan. Like I mentioned, there's so many ways through the survey, and then through the draft public comment that we'll be able to work with everybody. And this is ongoing work. This is work that's going to be continuing on for many years. And so we do know that there's going to be ways to connect with people meaningfully in a lot of different ways in the coming months. And so those folks will get that letter from us, that email from us notifying them, and then follow-up steps will be handled by our contractors, and we'll be convening meetings coming up this fall.
Great. So one other question here, where do people go to get the energy audit?
So you'll go to www.cabq.gov/sustainability. And then on that front homepage, we've got a ton of tiles. You'll see energy efficiency audits as a main homepage there on that front page. And if you just click that, that'll take you right to the sign up form. You can also sign up through PNM as well. What's really special about the contract and the program that we have running with Prosperity Works and Partnership for Community Action is that they have neighborhood leaders that are trained, that are oftentimes able to connect with folks bilingually. They're often usually fluent in English and Spanish and other languages as well. And there's sort of like a familiar presence that helps to accompany and helps to facilitate the process of a PNM employee coming in to do energy audits and upgrades. And so that's what's a little bit special about signing up for the city program over the PNM. But both are wonderful and both are good, and whichever way works best for anybody, definitely go for it. And PNM has a ton of energy efficiency rebates and programs. I encourage everybody, if you're thinking about getting a new appliance or changing out your air conditioning, your swamp cooler, go check out PNM, because you definitely can get some money back for making those upgrades.
Great. Well, awesome. This is so awesome. And this sounds like a great opportunity for the city to be able to really, gather lots of information from the community to make some really, really good decisions as you go through this process of figuring out how to really get a handle on being sustainable. Now, I know you said that you had 2,500 respondents so far, and it closes next week. How many are you hoping for before it closes?
To be honest, Tom, I was actually 2,500 was my goal number. So I'm feeling really good at the beginning of this week that we've met our goal there. But, of course, every time we get to the top of the hill, I'm looking at the next hill saying, I want to get more. So if we can get 3,000 responses, 4,000, whatever happens, that would be, absolutely fantastic. We'd be so thrilled with that. And, the big thing, too, is that what some folks don't realize is if you decide that you want to give your information, your email address or your phone number to the city, and you're interested in getting notifications, there's going to be a slew of programs in the future, really exciting activities, and we're constantly thinking of ways of how to better engage people. And so by giving us your information, you're also helping us build a database so that we can continue to have back and forth conversations with community members. So that flow of information is just a constant conversation that we can have back and forth.
Great. Fantastic.
Great.
Well, that's great, Kelsey. I'm so glad that we were able to go ahead and get a lunch and learn out, even in the midst of the crazy time we have right now. And this is so exciting. And this is going to be great for the city and great for all the residents of the city as well, to be able to really, really figure out how to effectively, get done what we want to get done. So thank you for being here, Kelsey. It was great to have you, and we look forward to seeing you again. Everybody, just want to let you know that we will be doing another Lunch and Learn next month. Keep your eye on eWeb. Keep your eye on the green news that goes out. We'll let you know when it's going to come out and what the topics are going to be. We have some great ideas and some folks right now that we want to bring forth, like open space and some others, to really talk about some of the great things that are going on. Also, just want to let you know that if you're on the green team and you're still doing different things, we want you to continue to record those and let us know what you're doing. A lot of people say in the midst of a time like this that, some of the things are just not being done, and there's, there might be a suggestion that maybe the green team is kind of not doing a lot right now, just because people aren't necessarily working in their offices, but they can't be further from the truth. Actually, in times like this, when things change, we actually have greater opportunities to do things differently. And so just because you're working from home doesn't mean you can't be sustainable. We're having to do different things at work. We're having to change the way that we, monitor our workplace, how we use our resources. And so there's probably some great sustainability activities happening that you may not even think you're doing, but we want you to be aware of those and let us know. If you're on the green team, let us know. And don't stop working at it. That's the most important thing. We will all get through this, hopefully by the end of the year if we're lucky, and we'll all be back to work and shaking each other's hands again, hopefully. Maybe we won't be wearing a mask for eternity. But either way, we're so glad that you came and so glad that you joined us today. We look forward to seeing you again. And from the green team, we'll see you soon.